tell me I can't do it, or tell me, oh, I don't think you're right for that, or this might be a bit big for you, or it's going to be a lot of pressure. I'm like, underestimate me and I'll embarrass you, and I'll do it anyway. I'm just trying to fix some of the things that maybe I came up against, which is there's loads of us females on the ground, but there's not many of us sat in the boardroom at the top.
In order for the world to become fairer, we've got to start pushing ourselves. We've got to say yes to more things. We've got to be brave and do things that push ourselves out of our comfort zone.
My biggest advice is say yes, because I'm like, every experience makes me better than the next person.
Sadly, the world that we live in still isn't fair, and there aren't enough female MDs like you and me around.
If people trust you, people believe in your vision, people kind of like you, and people are like, yeah, I got you, I've got your back, then that's all you need.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Marketing in the Madness. Now, I can't say that all my episodes aren't my favourite, but the one that we're about to record is one of my favourites because it's around how women can get ahead at work, and specifically in the marketing industry, how we can equal the balance. I record this content in collaboration with MadFest as part of the Female Leaders Club, which I help them on stage every year, as well as producing lots of content. And I have the lovely Louisa with me. So Louisa, you have been on the podcast before, but for those that haven't heard that episode, can you give me a quick intro?
Sure. I'm Louisa. I'm Managing Director of Scene Presents, and we are a brand experience agency. So essentially we do events for business to business and business to consumer brands.
With mega brands as well.
Yeah, just little brands like Netflix, Amazon, TikTok.
Yeah, love it. And also we have just been discussing how Louisa's going to get me into the Netflix area that she designs and puts on at Cannes. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm in, but it's one of my nights sorted or days sorted. Yeah. So let's get straight into it. This content is super important because sadly, the world that we live in still isn't fair, and there aren't enough female MDs like you and me around. So talk to me a little bit about your career, how you got, to be an MD of an agency.
Sure. So I feel like I'm going to do that rap started from the bottom. Now I literally started. I literally started at the bottom. I started as a project assistant, out the blocks, out of uni. And I've pretty much done most of the roles within the project client servicing arm, so not creative, that arm within events agencies. I've been doing it for over 20 years now. And I've gone from project assistant to project manager, project director, etc., and worked my way up. And the MD thing came about, it's unusual. Like my whole MO was, I am a great second in command. I'm a doer. So I'm like, someone else can have the vision and I'll deliver it. I'm your safe pair of hands. Tell me what you want and I'll crack on and do it. And I never really saw myself as an MD. I thought it would be terrifying in the first instance and too much responsibility, like too much pressure. But I had this moment where this opportunity came up to set up Scene Presents 2.0, as we call it. So Scene Presents 2.0, so my baby Scene Presents, he's 2.5 years old. And I took it over, and at the time there was no employees, and now there's 32 of us, which is amazing. And at the time when the opportunity came up, I was literally chatting to a mate, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, my MO, I'm second in command guy. Like, I don't know if I'm leader guy. And she was like, that I would follow you into battle anywhere. And it really moved me, and I was like, well, that's all you really need. I think if people trust you, people believe in your vision, people kind of like you, and people are like, yeah, I got you, I've got your back, then that's all you need. So I thought, sod it, I'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
And here you are.
And here I am. And it's so I want to touch all the wood in the world, but so far it's going okay. But I think my whole career, I've just always been a bit, I'll give it a go. Because I've tried to use every opportunity as a learning opportunity, even the boring bits. There are boring bits of jobs. Even in events, there are boring events that you don't want to do. There are difficult events that you don't want to do. And my biggest advice is say yes, because I'm like, every experience makes me better than the next person, because I know how to navigate things from, we talked about it earlier, but events on an island in the middle of Bermuda, through to a conference, through to South by, through to Cannes, and I'm like gathering experience all the time, so that when you get to the point where you have that opportunity to be a leader, you feel like you've navigated most things, and things that you haven't navigated, you feel like you've got the armour to weather it, I suppose.
I love that. I'm a big believer in the say yes, because I say yes to everything.
I said yes to this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But it is that, isn't it? Like, I think as women, we're often less likely to put ourselves forwards for the things that we should be putting ourselves forwards for, and we're not as ego driven. Sorry, guys that are listening to this, but it is kind of true. We're not as ego driven. So we don't, like you say, you were quite happy being second in command.
Yeah, I was happy with that.
There aren't probably as many men out there that are happy to be second in command. But I think in order for the world to become fairer, we've got to start pushing ourselves. We've got to say yes to more things. We've got to be brave and do things that push ourselves out of our comfort zone, because otherwise the narrative isn't going to change and we're not going to be able to get ahead. You've talked about a few things there. Was there one like defining moment where I always kind of think about like this daring moment where you went, and obviously encouraged by another woman? I was
encouraged by a man and a woman.
Amazing.
Yes, a man and a woman. And I will say, so I have had amazing women in my career. My first boss was, direct boss was a woman. She changed my career. She has her own agency. She was amazing. She taught me my work ethic. She taught me how to be endearing. She taught me how to deal with lots of things. I put a lot of my career on her, but ultimately, like you said, she had a male boss. Every female boss I've had has ultimately had a male boss. But they've always bought into me as well. And so I have been supported by men along the way, which is important. I think they've set the scene, for how that should go. But my defining moment was when I was thinking about, I don't know if I can do this. And someone said to me, like, but you've always done it in the end in your career. And I think women, you generally do that, right? You think you can't and you always do it in the end. And they said to me, you should live your life, Louisa, by this motto: underestimate me so that I can embarrass you. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. I don't have any tattoo on my mum. I'm going to get it tattooed. But I'm like, and I thought, I'm like, tell me I can't do it, or tell me, I don't think you're right for that, or this might be a bit big for you, or it's going to be a lot of pressure. I'm like, underestimate me and I'll embarrass you, and I'll do it anyway. And that's what I try and tell everyone that works for me, is like, if you put the graft in, if you're committed, if you are dedicated, if you're open to doing things, then embarrass people. Try it. And, now and again, you might not succeed, you might learn, you might do something wrong, but the next time you won't. It'll give you the armour to know that next time you can do it. And that was what gave me the F it moment. I was like, go on then, let me embarrass you. I'll give it a go.
It's happening. And look how amazing you've done. Like, grown the business pretty much from the ground up post-COVID, where a lot of events businesses, died or hard
times.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like, some of the best businesses that I know, really struggled, and, they've had to start again. So I think kudos to you. Can I ask, I should know this, what is the male to female ratio in your team now?
So we are, I think we just hired two females, so it might have skewed, but I think we're about 86% female.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that is, now obviously I work in events as well, I'm 100% female in my team. Well,
good.
not quite actually, we've got one guy, but he's about to leave actually, so we will again be 100% female, maybe because he gets annoyed with us, the female domination that's happening.
Fair.
That's not why but do you think that in our world of events, like, there does seem to be more
there's loads of women.
Yeah. Why do you
just
think
not
that
at
is?
the top.
Yeah.
Top.
Yeah, which is mental.
Oh gosh, this is where I'm going to get into trouble. I think like one of the reasons is that we're better at multitasking. Like events, you've got a million things that you're juggling all at once, and you have to be able to do that. And in my experience, women are often better at doing that. But I didn't want to have 100%. It wasn't my thing to go out and like bash men. I was like, I would like as diverse a team as possible. But what I would like to do is bring women into roles that either maybe they don't usually get. So, for example, we recently hired a female production assistant, because production is so heavily male, and we've got to start at the bottom and build that up. And I'd like to have as many females in my leadership team. So my ultimate leadership team is 100% female. My SLT is 90% female, and I think that was a conscious decision. That was, I need to show the younger generation that it is possible, so that the people they look up to look like them, are like them, and that they can see that there's a path for them as well. But I didn't want to make it, I don't want an agency that excludes anyone, but I'm just trying to fix some of the things that maybe I came up against, which is there's loads of us females on the ground, but there's not many of us sat in the boardroom at the top.
At the top, and I'm so with you on that. And I'm the same. I have not, by design, wanted to have a female-heavy team. It's just maybe because a lot of the people that apply for roles are women, and they see me.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Hopefully, because I'm another female founder and MD, they've seen me as an inspiration, and we just generally have more women to drive.
Definitely.
More women apply. God, I can't talk to you.
But I think, so I'm part of an MD group, which is within the marketing experiential sphere, and I had a little count on the WhatsApp group the other day, and there's like 56 MDs on there, but there's only 7 females. So even going to those like dinners and those get-togethers, it's quite, if you're the first to arrive, it's quite stark of how that feels. And then it's just different. And the other one is like campaign awards. It always blows my mind every year that campaign awards, you walk in, it's just like a wall of tuxedos.
Which is mad, because
where are all the women?
Yeah, all the women are making stuff happen. It's interesting, isn't it? There are definitely certain industries and certain sectors where it is more female dominated, but we do need more women at the top. We also need more women in tech roles. But across the board, from my kind of view on all of this is, diversity actually drives innovation. So we want to try and attract everyone, but we need to make it fair. Ideally,
everyone and everything, because I've got all sorts in the business, from not even gender, but, parents to carers to people from different nationalities. And I'm like...
Age groups as well.
Age groups, everything.
Young,
because
old, yeah.
When we get briefs in or different clients, like, I need that knowledge. Like, I don't... You know what I mean? I'm like very clearly Northern, very clearly white, very clearly female. Do you know what I mean? I have got my knowledge barrier of things that I know about culturally. So I need as many different brains in the business to keep us savvy and keep us on top of stuff and keep us relevant and interesting, and a place that people want to work. And like I'm not perfect. Our business isn't perfect. We've still got things that we need to do in lots of spaces, but part of your battle is like being aware of that at least, and trying to put something in place to fix it, I suppose. So, my whole thing is, I've always said this, I ain't in this for the money. Like, I should have picked a different career.
Yeah.
I could do events in finance or something. I'm in it because I want to create a space that people go home and be like, oh, Mom, I loved work today. It was mint. Like, look at what I created and look at what I worked on. And we've got a lot of young people that work for Scene Presents, and they often say that, and that's amazing, because that's like the career that I had and built because of my female boss that I had at the time. I was just so proud of what I worked on, and I liked where I worked, and I think that's my main thing, is trying to create that if I can. Which is hard, because events is proper stressful, not gonna lie.
It is. It's not for everyone, guys.
It ain't for everyone. It sounds like it's going to be absolute lols, and sometimes it ain't.
It really isn't, but it's brilliant when you're actually at the... I mean, not so brilliant for us at the events, but when you see it come to life, it is amazing.
For me, it's worth it. But I think you've got to go into it knowing that you've got to love it.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got to love it.
So guys, we need more female MDs. We need more female leaders. I hope that we've inspired some of you to say yes.
Do it.
Yeah, just say yes.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, worst that can happen. Do you know what? Sometimes the worst that can happen is the best that can happen, because you learn more when you fail. So worst is you'll fail and you'll learn loads. So
yeah. And it makes you better for next time.
100%. Louisa, thank you so much for coming
Thank
back
you.
onto the bloody hell. Thank you, Louisa, for coming back on the podcast. I can't talk today. Yeah, that was amazing.
Thank you for having me.